Hello everyone, welcome to my channel about writing stuff. My name's Camille and today we're doing the Keeper book tag, which was created by Kim Chance. And the reason why I'm doing this book tag is number one, I asked on Twitter what I should make a vlog about and Kim was the only person to comment on my post and she was like, hey, you should do this tag. And the second reason is because her debut novel Keeper launches today and it is my birthday. So for my birthday, I want all of you to go and buy a copy of her new young adult book. So you should totally do that. Now, I read through the questions on like the Keeper book tag and everything. And as I was making my list of answers, I realized that I don't have a couple of the books for the answers. So just bear with me. But anyways, let's get started. So the first one is Keeper, a book you'll keep reading over and over. And I have bought 3 copies of this book and they're all on loan to other people. Although one was a gift. One was a gift to my little sister. But it's The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I've talked about it before on my channel and it is just the most, it's just like amazing. Like it's just such a beautiful story and the characters and the magic and it is just brilliant. So you should totally read it if you haven't read it, but I doubt any of you booktube watching people have like not read it. So anyways, question number 2, Lanie and Maggie, favorite bookish friendship. Now this one is a little bit odd, but it is Quoth and Ari from Patrick Rothfuss's The Name of the Wind. And I love their friendship. If you've read the books, Ari is like weird and squeamish and she lives underneath the university and Quoth like coaxes her out of her hiding place by playing music to her. And it is just so cute because Ari's super weird and Quoth has to be like super calm with her and just kind of give into her weirdness. And it's just the most adorable friendship. I love it. There are people out there who ship Quoth and Ari and I'm just not about that. Like they need to just stay friends. Because then it would get weird. Number 3, witch. Favorite bookish witch or warlock. I have 2, but the most important one is Janelle from Anne Bishop's Black Jewel trilogy. This is the 3rd book because the 1st and 2nd book I lost and then I rebought the 1st one and then lent it to someone and I haven't gotten it back. But anyways, so Janelle is my favorite witch because she is witch, like literally what she's called in the book. And she's the most powerful witch and can do all of this crazy stuff. So she's my favorite. But my second favorite, or I guess my first favorite warlock would be Magnus Bane, just because he's Magnus Bane. Enough said. Okay, number 4. The Master, a book villain you love to hate. There are quite a few villains I love to hate, but this villain was like my first villain, and I recently reread this book that I'm going to talk about, and it didn't scare me as much as it did the first time I read it, but the first time I read it, just the villain freaked me out. But anyways, it is Leland Gaunt from Stephen King's Needful Things. And I love to hate him because he's a true villain, like just a bad guy to be a bad guy, and he makes people in town like go crazy, and that just totally freaked me out when I was little and when I read the book the first time, so that's my favorite villain to hate. Okay, number 5, Kim Chance, a book you're glad you took a chance on. Now, this book I'm actually going to do a discussion on just because there's so much to discuss in this book, but I was watching a booktuber do her least favorite reads of 2017, and just the way she talked about the book was like a glowing recommendation for me to read it. Whenever someone really, really hates a book, I kind of want to read it. So it is All the Ugly and Wonderful Things by Bryn Greenwood. And if you haven't heard anything about this book, I will caution a trigger warning because there are some elements of I really don't want to talk about this kind of stuff on this blog, but I mean, basically you have an 8-year-old girl who gets inappropriately close with a 23-year-old guy. And there are some elements of pedophilia, but the female protagonist initiates any of like the contact. So it's, not as bad as like Lolita, but it's a trigger warning definitely, but it is a beautiful story because the core of the story is about like this little girl's really awful life and how she copes with things. And it's, like I said, I'm going to do a discussion on this book just so I can really dig into the meat of it. But I actually would recommend it if trigger warnings and things aren't as much of a concern for you. Okay, so that was a loud okay. Gareth and Serena, favorite non-related family. Now, I battled with the idea of going with like Harry Potter to answer all of these questions, but it feels a little, like Harry Potter, just everyone loves everything about Harry Potter for all the things that it encompasses. So I wanted to go with something a little bit different, and I decided on Fitz and Birch from Robin Hobb's Assassin's Apprentice. And if you haven't read this book, it is the story about this kid's life named Fitz. He's like a bastard child, but anyway, his father was like prince, supposed to become king before he died, but he had Fitz with like this woman that wasn't his wife. So when Fitz gets brought to essentially live with the royal family, his dad's right-hand man basically takes care of Fitz. And there's just so much struggle and tension because Birch wants to do right by his lord, but is also having trouble with this kid, and then Fitz isn't having anyone else. And it's just an adorable relationship because it's not just two people coming together, it's two people with like struggles and warring emotions and drives and stuff, and they like really have to fight to make it work because shit just goes wrong towards the end, and it's anyways. So that's my favorite. Number 7, Ty. Favorite mysterious male character. I thought about this one a lot too, but I have to go with Jace Wayland from Cassandra Clare's Mortal Instruments series. And Jace Wayland is my favorite mysterious character, favorite mysterious male character, not just because he puts on like an asshole vibe, but because literally his life and lineage is like a mystery that is like basically the plot of the whole series. So it's was very intriguing in that way. There are a lot of mysterious male characters that are mysterious for the sake of mystery, but with this series, it's actually like a really important part of the plot and moves things along. So I enjoyed that. Number 8, Holy Crap Kittens. Oh, that word. Okay, Holy Crap Kittens, a book you had a strong reaction to. So I've done a discussion on this book before, but it is Jacqueline Carey's Cushiel's Dart. Now, I had a lot of people recommending this to me, like I talked about in my discussion video, because it was like something that hadn't been seen in fantasy before. It is Phaedra, this character who essentially is the only one of her kind. She's kind of like a courtesan, and she receives pleasure from pain. So a lot of people in my circle were like, you should read this. It's new. It's something I haven't seen before. But once I actually got into the pages, I realized it was like this intense courtly mystery. And then it was like an adventure and battles and all this kind of stuff. So it was just 900-page book, and it like just dragged me through the whole story. Like I couldn't put it down. And it was just so much more than what people were telling me it was. And it was very surprising in that way. All right, and the last one, number 9. Magic Always Leaves a Mark. A book that had a big impact on you. Now, I don't have the first or second book because it's on loan, but The Wayward Children series. This is the third book by Seanan McGuire. This one is Beneath the Sugar Sky. But if you haven't read these or heard of these, and I don't know what rock you've been living under, but it is just the most amazing series. The first book is called Every Heart a Doorway, and they're just these short novellas about kids who get back from different portal fantasy worlds and are trying to reacclimate into society and cope with the loss of their fantasy world. And it is just the most beautiful story. And all the characters are amazing, and the relationships and just the worlds that they went to, and just, I feel like Seanan McGuire reached into my brain and pulled out the story that I needed to read. It is so good. So yeah, those are my answers to the Keeper book tag questions. Happy book launch day to Kim Chance, and I don't have a resource today, but I am going to link the Amazon page below so you can all get a copy of Kim's debut novel. Especially for all of you who are writers, it's such a good thing to support debut authors and to support everyone in this field, because there's totally enough room for all of us. And when one of us succeeds, we are all a step closer to succeeding, and it is just such an exciting thing. And it's also my birthday, so for my birthday, go buy Kim's book. Okay, thank you guys for watching. I will see you all next time to talk about more writerly things, but for now, you should be writing and reading stuff.